They told us to keep dancing, but did the Strictly Stars think we'd still be doing it 2 decades later?
Yeah, 20 years to the day since we were first invited into the ballroom. So we're talking with 4 of the stars next, whose lives were changed forever by the show. They're all joining us after the break.
I love this song. Hello there.
You had a hat, didn't you have a hat?
I had a hat. My grandma gave me a hat that had flashing lights on and a battery in it, and it played that song.
Amazing.
Welcome back. We're in the mood for dancing this Wednesday, as it's 20 years to the day since the very first episode of Strictly Come Dancing.
They can't hear music without moving.
Can't help themselves.
Thrilled that they're going to be joining us, some of the former stars of the show, finding out how the ballroom has changed their lives. First, though, if you fancy dancing all the way...
Yes, very best of luck with that. Now, if you were to stand in this very building on this exact day 20 years ago, you'd have found lots of sparkle and sequins and nervous dancers putting the final touches to a brand new television show.
A lot of nervous dancers. The show was Strictly Come Dancing, which no one in Television Centre that day could have predicted would still now be the biggest show on TV 2 decades later.
In just a moment, we'll be talking to some of the stars whose lives were changed forever by the ballroom. But first, let's take you back to the night Strictly was born on Saturday, the 15th of May, 2004.
Please welcome your hosts, Bruce Forsyth and Tess Daly.
Nice to twirl you, to twirl you. 8 celebrities paired with 8 professional dancers, all competing for one title. Let the battle of the ballroom begin.
And to celebrate Strictly's 20th anniversary, we're joined now by 4 people who had a lot to thank for the show.
First up, professional dancer Brendan Cole, whose life was never the same after winning Series 1. Morning, Brendan.
Morning. Rachel Riley's also here, who would never have met her husband, Pasha, or welcomed their 2 beautiful children if she hadn't signed up for Strictly.
And last but by no means least, the high-kicking, highfalutin Debbie McGee, who sets her part in the show. Helped her smile again after the tragic loss of her husband, Paul. Hello, everybody. Lovely to have you all here.
Nice to see
fantastic. Brendan, 20 years ago to this day.
Quite something.
We had a little look at that opening of all of you lined up. Yes. Do you remember that feeling that day?
I actually do, yeah. I don't remember many things, but that day was really special. It was exciting, nervous. Nobody knew really how the show was going to be perceived or actually if it was going to take it. We'd had, obviously, Strictly Ballroom for... not Strictly Ballroom, Come Dancing for so many years. I think it's the longest-running TV show ever. So they knew there was going to be something exciting there, but nobody knew if it was going to work with celebrities and pros.
It was so good. And we just saw there the legend, Bruce Forsyth.
He's amazing.
You must have some great memories from them.
I do. He was incredible off the stage, more so than he was actually on the stage. His wit, so fast and so brilliant. And he was lovely to everybody, unless he was slightly angry, and then he was horrible to everybody.
OK.
He was very temperamental, but what I loved is that always production, they would always say, Bruce is on set, and we'd all sort of...
Everybody knew.
All right, OK, calm yourselves down. And I loved that he had that respect, he commanded that respect, but he earned it over so many years. Amazing.
Rachel, what did you think when you heard about... Because I can remember hearing about Strictly Come Dancing, thinking, what, it's a ballroom dancing talent show on Saturday night? Really?
Yeah.
People going to be watching? Did you watch the first few? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I remember my mum and my Zayda, her dad, they were hooked from the first show because it's, you know, part of that generation before that used to go to tea parties. And I think he probably met my mum's mum, you know, through dancing. So relationships have formed over the years, and it's just that nostalgic, wholesome...
Is that what happened to you? You just
I was just about to say, talking of relationships...
party that went wrong.
More fun.
Yeah. And what about you, Debbie, though? Because, I mean, I genuinely, and hold my hands up and say, I never saw it working. From my perspective, but I love it now. I can watch it. I can see the journeys that the celebrities that you all go on. Do you remember thinking 20 years ago? I mean, what Strictly could have been? Were you in straight away?
Yeah, I was in absolutely from the first one. I loved it myself, but I wasn't sure the general public would like it, you know, because dancing is quite a woman thing. So I think it was a surprise to everybody.
Surprise to all of us.
It was that crossover, wasn't it? It was a crossover from what you said, the success of Come Dancing as a TV show and the history we have of ballroom dancing in this country, but into this world that made it suddenly much more relevant to lots of younger people as well.
More so than that, the show has so many elements. It has relationships, it has the competition element, it has the judges who are, I mean, vile at times. And then if you take Len, for example, he was the ultimate Strictly judge. He knew exactly how to pitch it. He was either on your side and rooting for you, even if you were rubbish, or he could see you getting... or you could see you getting too big for your boots, and he'd absolutely bring you down to earth. And that was the beauty of him, and he did it with always a smile and charm. And even if he was a bit aggressive on the show, he'd come up afterwards and give you a handshake and go...
But you knew he'd got a great heart. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. You always knew where he was coming from. And Pasha, I mean, what we can't not talk about is the talent of the professionals on the show. I mean, like, I mean, it's so... Brendan, obviously. But of course, it's that thing where... So Pasha and I know each other from the dance show that I host in America.
In the States?
Yeah. So
did you do that before you came on to...
Yes.
Oh, really?
It kind of started my TV career in America and Broadway, and then... dancing.
But it was crazy because when Pasha came, he was dancing with another ballroom girl called Anya, and Pasha wasn't even going to audition for the show. And we one of our producers,
this is you there. I think this is you on.
Hello. I was blackmailed into joining the show.
So really, they sort of twisted your arm to join?
Yeah, so if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here sitting on this couch.
But what do you think it is about ballroom dancing that everybody just fell in love with and embraced?
I think it's just a classy thing.
Right.
And especially here in UK, people love classy things. And it's something very positive. Man-woman relationships, you dance together, it's great exercise, it's a great social thing. And I think overall, when it mixed with professional dancing and a little bit of celebrity gossip, it creates the amazing
Also, the costumes, look at those costumes and the makeup and
and that's what I was going to say, Rachel, is when I was a kid, Saturday nights there were big shows with loads of dancers and things, and then there was a long time without anything, and then Strictly came with all the glamour and costumes and all the other elements that kind of put it together. And I think one of the things that makes Strictly very special, as a performer, you know your audience are animals. So if you're happy...
Depends what you're doing, right?
We've known each other too long. But sorry about that, I'm going to make myself blush. Anyway, but you know that if you're happy and having a good time, your audience has a good time. And on Strictly, everybody is for you. They're all friendly. I mean, Brendan and Pasha, when I was on it, when I finished dancing, you always came up, gave me a hug and said, well done.
Camaraderie.
Even though it's the camaraderie is incredible. And I think that comes over to the audience. And these guys, the pros, I think what a lot of people don't consider is the reason they got the job is because they're the best. And they have won competitions, been on Broadway, big shows in America. We don't... But they take a back seat on Strictly and let their celebrity, who can't do it, be the star. And I think that's why Strictly are very clever at choosing who the pros are, because they're really, really special people.
Yeah,
they're not just talented.
They're not that bad.
They're unselfish.
Stop it.
You are.
Rach, didn't you end up doing Strictly because Brendan came on Countdown?
Brendan is the reason that I have children.
That's right. That is what? Learn from me.
What's going on?
And Rachel
Brendan came on Countdown and then said, would you want to do Strictly? And I was like, yeah, of course. And you mentioned it to the production and then, you know, here we are.
And it's just explained, because it's around about now that people are being tapped up for the new series. What's that period like when you get asked and then there's a secrecy before it starts? How do you cope with all of that? And then when it actually starts as well? Because lots of my colleagues next door at GMB have done it. And I've lived that with them, and it's one of the most distressing and intense experiences, just knowing what they're going through.
Well, you get a code name as well, so they gave it with the first letter of your name. So mine was Miss Russia. That was my code name.
Meant to be, wasn't it?
I didn't tell my mum until like right before I was going on, because I knew she was going to tell everybody. But it's just exciting and terrifying at the same time. And I think, you know, some celebs go out there and they get some sneaky lessons in. I wasn't that clever. I should have done that.
You didn't have time.
I didn't have time. I did like a little trial dance with James Jordan.
Yeah.
And then they decided, all right, you can be the joke act, you can come on. And you're kind of working out, you know, you're gonna be that one, are you going to be the comedy one, are you going to be the one with the journey?
Yeah.
And you just don't know until you get there. And you're, you know, on a Sunday you've got this brand new dance, and on a Saturday you're dancing this thing in front of 10 million people. There's just nothing else like it in life.
For most people that do the show, you know, 90% of the contestants that come on the show, it is life-changing, it's life-altering.
It was for me.
The experience is so intense and can be so beautiful. It can be the opposite as well, but for the most part, it's a thing that changes your life, and you'll talk about it forever, as I'm sure you guys do.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, we talked about the glamour, we talked about the talent, we talked about the comedy, but actually, Debbie, it can be life-changing right at a moment where you need it as well.
Totally life-changing for me.
For you, it
was the year after Paul had died.
Yeah.
And so I was so immersed in it as well and having such a wonderful time.
Yeah.
But I got out of it things I wasn't expecting, apart from making friends with people that whenever we get together, it's like you've never been apart. But it created my Debbie McGee brand, because I've been part of a double act for, you know, 38 years. And everybody, although they knew me, I was still Paul's assistant. And suddenly, Strictly gave me a brand, which has made my life happier and helped me get over my grief and become me, and gave me a confidence I didn't have before, because people treat me differently. Because they could see, actually, there's a bit more to her than standing, you know, watching Paul do a trick or going in a box.
But you also now have this infrastructure as well that you know is almost a little bit like a family.
Oh,
that we're always
absolutely.
Gonna...
Yeah.
I think one of the things as well, Brendan, is every season there's so many rumours about what's happening between the dancers and their partners. Sometimes it pays off and it's a wonderful love story, of course, and there's families that come out of it. But often there's a lot of intrigue and there's all that sort of stuff, and people talk about the curse. Why are we so intrigued by that part of it as viewers as well?
Because human relations. We love to know what's going on next door. You know, if you hear a bit of gossip or a bit of an argument next door, you want, oh, what's the argument about? That's exciting. Or likewise, if there's a little bit of a romance blooming, it's amazing to be in the thick of that concept as it's happening, it's unfolding on screen and in the papers and on the morning television shows. I think that's the beauty of it. You're seeing two people creating something. It could be horrible, it could be beautiful, and I think that's the magic that's kept people hooked on Strictly, as well as the beautiful frocks and the glamour.
And why does it happen? Because we even had it on the show in America. It's like, it's this thing.
What, you and Pasha?
No, I wish. I wish. I'd never.
Between the couple and the dancers.
But you always, it's this
Can you answer that, Mage?
strange
For
thing.
me, with Pasha, it was the first time I kind of relinquished any control.
That's
So I'm kind of used to just like being the woman and in control of things. And it was the first time he's the boss, and you just have to listen to him. And you obviously get to know someone on a far closer level than you would otherwise, because, I mean, I was living in Essex, I was filming in Manchester and Birmingham, so you were literally following me around the country, and we were getting, you know, 3 hours dancing here and then travelling through the night and then 3 hours sleep here. So it's kind of it's a strange bonding experience that you just wouldn't get in real life. It's just it's an artificial reliance.
But
really.
you
It's kind of-
rely on each other so heavily for everything, because it's not just about doing steps, it's not just about a bit of practice, it's the emotional stuff, it's getting ready for the show. You're about to go live to however many million people, and you've got one chance to make it. Then you've got the slamming of the judges or the adoration of the judges. There are so many aspects to the show that just make it so intense for you as a couple. You rely on each other.
And that's why we love it so
We've loved
much,
it for 20
isn't it?
years, and
That's why
undoubtedly
we'll
will do further.
continue to.
And you're up for this year as well, which is really exciting.
So it's such a shame. The Loose Women are here next on ITV1. What's coming up on the show today, Christine?
Hello again. Well, coming up here, as Ant shares his happy baby news, we're asking, are men more broody than women? Also, do relationships move faster as you get older? And she was the last person to see Elvis alive. We're joined by his former fiancée, Ginger Alden, to reveal what life was like with the king. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
I'm going to be watching that straight after the show.
On tomorrow's show, Claire Richards is going to be putting her best foot forward as she shows us how to rock the cowboy core trend.
Nadine Baggett will be helping you get a golden glow, whatever the weather, with the ultimate instant tan test.
And best mates Rob and Ryland are going to be live in the
can't
studio.
wait.
We'll see you tomorrow at 10. Bye-bye.
Bye.